for whatever reason, I thought, hey, we can shoot the very first scene on the first day, no problems. And it's very effects heavy. I think the first night was only scheduled for like 4 hours. So like 5.5 hours later, we're not even halfway done through the first, scene. I start flipping through the script and I'm like, okay, this is where we're at. And then I just started flipping pages and flipping pages. And that is the point in which I began to have a panic attack. And I was like, all right, let's take a 5. And I went and I walked outside and it was already dark and it wasn't really raining, but it was misting. And I just put my hands on my face and I thought, this is already something else. It's another reason for it to fall apart. I'm out there by myself and then everybody kind of comes outside because, it's not air conditioned in the building, so everybody wants to get some fresh air. And the special effects people came out, the cast came out, and everybody's talking about how much fun they're having and how awesome it is to be a part of something like this and how this is like a once-in-a-lifetime thing. We're in small-town America, stuff like this doesn't happen. And somebody asked me, they're like, are you okay? And I was like, all right, here's the deal. We're behind. And that's when Ralph and Melissa were like, let's just come back tomorrow. And everybody's like, yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll come back tomorrow. And I'm like, wait a second. It's 4th of July. No, we're having a great time. We would love to come back. This is actually awesome because we get to just, instead of 1 day, we're getting to do 2 days. And it was a very humbling experience because I'm sitting there thinking about how it's a disaster and look at where we're at and this is gonna fall apart and nothing's gonna work right. Even though I was like falling apart, emotionally, it was still it was very uplifting. So we got back together the very next day and we finished out the scene and it went great.
It was a really anticlimactic ending to that story. The build-up was like, oh,
it's kind of like having sex with me.
Well, I mean, it was a tough shooting schedule because we were working around a lot of people's work schedules and school schedules and stuff like that. And then not everyone could be there at the same time, and we'd have 8 people in a scene.
I wasn't sure how everything was going to come together since so many people were shooting separately. We'd be doing scenes and talking to mic stands. And
there were a lot of times whenever me and Kevin would be on set and there'd be 6 or 7 people and we'd have to go through and get everyone's takes and they'd just go around the room and a lot of times we'd be the last people there and that was rough because we were horribly unprofessional.
I was like, well, PJ, we're like shooting out of order, and he was like, yeah. He was like, well, we're just gonna put it all together. And I was like, I don't see how that'll work.
There were times that I was like, oh, I bet this movie's gonna be horrible. This movie's gonna be absolutely horrible. But it wasn't, so, that's the important thing is that I'm the actor and I don't need to know how it all goes together. I don't need anything with post-production, so I just need to trust what's going on. So it was good that I was able to trust my director.
Another thing that was really, really cool is PJ understood that his dialogue was bad for the most part, and he would still, like, just as a creator, he was still not letting us change it to something that was better. And that takes an enormous amount of integrity as an artist.
I felt very confident in PJ and Rodney and the other actors that I was working with.
the cast is amazing. They're a bunch of great people.
To see a different range, from Todd Reynolds to John Page to Robert and myself and then Megan, and just to see like a whole different group of people from all these different places come together, it was very interesting to see.
Robert Denton was really interesting to work with because he never ever shut up and he caused our days to be really, really long.
John was really great to work with too, and we had to get comfortable with each other because I spent at least 50% of the film with my head buried in his chest, so.
John Page, very professional guy. Sarah Jane Beal, pretty awesome. Katie Green was excellent. Megan was really, really good. Todd was great. Robert Zambrano was good. It was fun working with all those guys.
I wouldn't say they were professional, but they were all fun, so professional didn't really matter so much.
I'm not the only creative person. Rodney's not the only creative person. The actors are just as much a part of the process as we are, and they have ideas. And if you just box them in, you don't allow them to do exactly what they want to do, and that's be creative, then at the end of the day, you're gonna have very lackluster performances.